An old, forgotten, and somewhat obscure gem from the original PlayStation, now running in HD. Let me introduce you to a game that doesn't get much attention these days, but might just steal your heart with its charm, simplicity, and surprisingly appealing graphics. This is 40 Wings. 40 Wings was definitely aiming to compete in the platformer space alongside Crash Bandicoot and Super Mario 64, but it didn't quite make the same impact. Developed by a smaller studio, Aerocom, and released in 1999, it just couldn't keep up with the massive commercial success of its more famous rivals, backed by more powerful franchises and marketing. 40 Wings, on the other hand, struggled to find its footing among the heavy hitters. The story, while simple and basic, which was pretty standard for most platformers of that era, managed to inject a bit more personality than most. Its dream world setting, FMV cutscenes that feel straight out of the late 90s animated kids movie, and a unique, sometimes downright strange art style gave it an identity that stood out. It kind of punched above its weight in that department. It didn't nail everything, but for a lesser known title, it definitely had more personality than a lot of its competition. Visually, the game looked great for the time. Maybe it didn't reach the technical polish of Crash, but I'd argue the art direction and charm gave it a distinct identity that still holds up. Now keep in mind, I'm playing this on an emulator in 4040p. Originally, it ran at a resolution of 320 by 240 pixels on the PlayStation, and I can't have you watching 10 minutes of gameplay looking like this. But with upscaling today, we can finally appreciate the little details hidden in the beautifully diverse dream worlds of 40 Wings. Even back in the day, the game received praise for its visuals, with strong points being the environments and character animations. However, many critics felt the gameplay was repetitive and lacked innovation. Some also found the tone too childish, which limited its appeal to older players. But somehow, 26 years later, I found myself tracking it down and giving it another shot. That has to say something about the game, right? Maybe it didn't get a fair chance back then, because it was overshadowed by major franchises. I played through the entire game over the course of a week, just casually chipping away at it. The simple gameplay and low difficulty ended up working in its favor. It's the kind of a game you can just relax with after dealing with the chaos of modern life. Not to say I didn't die countless times for a misstep or a bad jump, only to fall into an acid pool down below. It still keeps you on your toes. And the graphics, which might have seemed overly childish back then, now weirdly enhance the game's strange, dreamlike atmosphere. I wouldn't go as far as calling it morbid, but it definitely gives off that eerie, uncanny atmosphere. The house that acts as a hub where you unlock and choose different worlds or dreams has that unexplainable, surreal 90s video game energy. Almost like you're trapped in a weird, forgotten level of the back rooms. The game's background music is genuinely one of its strongest elements. The themes that play throughout your adventures give that feeling of being inside a late 90s animated movie or a Saturday morning cartoon. Take a listen to some of the tracks that play while you're exploring the different dream worlds. Each one fits its setting almost perfectly. From spooky and atmospheric in the nightmare world, to whimsical and upbeat in the space or underwater stages. The soundtrack does a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to the mood and the atmosphere. What about the story? You play as Rough or Tumble, two siblings on a mission to rescue the Wings, magical creatures that bring good dreams. The villainous Nightcap has kidnapped them, turning them into a nightmare-spreading hoodwinks.
Why should anyone else? From now on, sweet dreams have been cancelled.
With the help of the creepy talking alarm clock, the kids travel through 6 dream-themed worlds: nightmare, underwater, space, prehistoric, castle and pirate worlds, or dreams. Along the way, you collect dream keys and rescue the 40 missing wings, hence the name 40 Wings. After each level, or when you die, you treat it to a FMV cutscene.
Yeah.
So, yes, they managed to foil me again.
Hold still. This is a very delicate operation.
They're low resolution, sure, but the animation holds up and adds to the game's cartoony charm. The in-game scenes are super compressed. But fear not, I found a YouTube channel that remastered them with upscaling, and they look great. You can actually appreciate the effort that went into animating them. Big thanks to the creator for sharing this. While the gameplay isn't overly complex or as extensive as some of the more well-known titles, it works, and that's all it needs to. It's fun enough to keep you engaged and motivated to continue playing. There's a decent variety of levels, and what I really appreciate is how diverse they are. There aren't any puzzles or minigames, except for the racing challenge. Each of the dream worlds has an opponent you can race against. You race against an opponent in 3 laps, and if you win, you get to keep your collected items. There's no health or stamina bar, and the screen isn't cluttered with UI elements. It's just you, your character, and this bizarre dreamy world, and the creepy wakey wakey. You collect Z's for health and moons for mana, used to activate powers tied to character transformations. Throughout the levels, you'll find wind-up boxes that allow you to transform into various characters. A ninja, joker, a space guy, or even a middle-aged divorced alcoholic dad whose special power is puking bones. If you're playing as Tumble, you can transform into a fairy instead of the Joker. Each costume has its own unique abilities and traits. The ninja is fast and great at taking on groups of enemies. The Joker is immune to drowning and can cast magic. And the prehistoric man pukes bones. By collecting enough gears, you can unlock doors and save little wings to progress further. After each level, you face off against a boss, Nightcap's sidekick, Threadbare.
Nothing. Threadbare!
Uh-oh.
Threadbare might just be my favorite character from the cutscenes. In-game, he's usually easy to defeat, and the boss fights themselves are a bit underwhelming. But defeating him rewards you with an FMV, so it's worth it. Now, if you clicked on this video, you're probably intrigued by this forgotten game. I hope I've managed to bring it a little closer to modern gamers. And maybe some of you even remember playing it back in the day. You can grab the game on Steam, but keep in mind that the port isn't the best, with some issues mentioned in the user reviews. I didn't run into anything major myself, just the occasional stutter. If you're after a smoother experience, the Steam version is essentially a PS1 game running through an emulator. So you might want to try emulating it on a platform like DuckStation for much better performance and upscaling. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.